that inspired me, that image of this sort of fairy tale enchantment, was something that they'd done on Next Generation. So they aced me out of that one. So that's so much for that, and I'll never go back to them. Hell with them. All right, that young man back there who's had his hand up there till it's withering. Yes. What connected to Gary?
Emotionally.
I'm sorry, I thought you said something else. And I'm not going to tell you what I thought. I thought, ooh, that just blew me away. Yeah, emotionally. Am I emotionally connected to Gary? Yeah, that's a very good question. I am emotionally connected. And the best portray, I find the most successful portrayals that I have as an actor are when I am emotionally connected. There's no question about it. So that the pain you see from Garrick, or the joy, or the pleasure, is for the most part real. Because I have the funnel, I have the way, I've got the connection. Good question. Even though I took a walk in outer space. Yes. The red glasses, blonde hair, she's pointing to someone, well then, yeah, there you are.
But how did you appear on Star Trek in the first place?
Well, how did I appear in Star Trek in the first place? I just went to audition for Garrett. I originally was down for the last 3 people for Odo. And after I finished my audition, I knew, well, now it's down to 2 because I'm not going to get this role because I was absolutely terrible. And I was terrible because I wasn't right for it. You know, you know these things. And you don't, and it's easier to let things go. You know, if you give a terrible audition, that means, you know, that's not for you. So they brought me back for Garrett. I auditioned for Garrett, and I walked out of the room and I'm saying, well, if they hire somebody else, that other person must be a genius because this role is obviously mine. And it was indeed, because I nailed them. I knew what to do immediately. And it was just, you know, and it was just for that one role. They said, well, it may be a recurring role. I've had that said to me numerous times in my life, and you learn immediately to discount that. It's another one of those checks that's coming in the mail. And, but because I think the chemistry between Bashir and myself, and also the character, because I did find a way to do the character that the producers liked a lot, and the rest is a life change. Yes, yes, sir. On the side standing.
Yeah. Then you stated that everything Garrett says is a lie. What's the story behind simple little tailor pleading? What's Garrett really? Is he a bank robber or?
I like that, bank robber. Stick him up. Wouldn't he be wonderful? A wonderful bank robber? If you don't mind, please, I'd like everything that's in that drawer. Thank you. I mean, that would be a great bank robber. God, wouldn't it be a pleasure to see a polite, genteel, cultivated bank robber? No. Anyway, it's still a mystery to me, honestly. I mean, they aren't telling me, but I'll tell you what I'm doing, and this is going to happen with future conventions. I'm sorry it's not happening now, but now that I turned down my script, I decide. I did this one-man show last year called Memoirs of Jesus, and it was very successful. And basically, the way it was written as if, of course, Jesus never kept a journal, but it was written well, you laugh, but it's I suppose it's funny. Today, I went to Hebrew school, and no, it wasn't that kind. Anyway, so it was written as a journal in which he, you know, during the most various parts of his life, writes down these things, and it was very successful. So I decided to do the same thing for Garrett. And I started it a while ago, and it's called, I don't know whether to call it Silence, Exile, and Cunning, which is a James Joyce quote, by the way, but it's appropriate for Garrett, or Plain and Simple, but it's Memoirs of a Cardassian Tailor. And And basically what I'm doing is that I am creating this, basically I'm writing down the story that I've created for myself about Garrett. And I find it's very interesting. The writers probably will have a conniption, you know, but unless they come to a convention, they'll never see it. But I plan to start, you know, reading some of these things at future conventions. Because I have a feeling that sooner or later they're going to arrest me if I keep on like this.
Do you think Garrett and Cork will team up?
Garrick and Cork? I hope so. Do you think Garrick and Cork will team up? I really hope so. I mean, it's a natural. It's such a natural. It's like, don't try to con a con man. I mean, it's like the two of them trying. I would love to see the two of them try on, working some kind of deal. I mean, their motives would be very different. There's no question about it. But I would love to see the two of them trying to work out some kind of scam together. I think that would be quite wonderful. And the stuff that we do. As a matter of fact, we just shot a scene last week that was, it was so much fun working with Armin, because Armin is so insane, and obviously the subtext of that is so am I, you get two insane actors together, and that's always fun. I hope that happens. Good. I'm glad, because I've been ignoring the wings here. Yes. Oh, I got a story for you. Where was I when the earthquake hit California? I'm glad you asked. What a guy. Good man. I was in a makeup chair. That's true. Armin Shimmerman was down at the other end. There was another guy, an actor named Ed Wiley, who was also playing the Kardashian. It's when we were doing that episode called Profit and Loss. And Mary Crosby was also playing a Kardashian, that was in the middle. The earthquake hit. We were in the chair. It was 4:31 in the morning. I mean, you never forget the time or where you were and what you were doing. Kennedy was killed and those things like that, you never forget. And now those makeup trailers are notoriously rickety anyway. And so basically what was happening, we were literally, you can't imagine unless you were there. I mean, we were literally hitting, my head hit the top, hit the ceiling, came up right out of the thing, everything was coming down. Power went out, it was unbelievable, people panicked and screamed, and you'd like to think that you were brave and cool, and all you were doing was just trying to save your ass. And then, suddenly, nothing. Oh, no power, nothing, everything's quiet. Now that day, it was a heavy alien day. Because as well as the trailer, as well as the four of us being made up in the trailer, there were several Kardashians, not Romulans, Vulcans, and a couple of and others that were in other makeup trailers. Now remember, it's still dark, it's pre-dawn. We all come out into the silence and the darkness. And you look around and you realize it's a plot. It's a plot. This is how the aliens are going to take us over, because suddenly the place was swarming with aliens, and of course the humanoids were gone. They were trying to figure out what went wrong, and it was just aliens, looking at each other in the pre-dawn darkness after this Holocaust. So I immediately jump on the phone, call my wife. I got through, no problem. Everybody's okay where we live. We're on bedrock and so forth. Armin and Ed Wiley, who's also another Kardashian, you understand, we're just about all in our makeup. Very early call, because it was a Monday morning. And so Armin and Ed Wiley can't get through. They start to panic, because they live in a part of town that was heavily hit over in the valley. So they just wait around waiting for someone in authority to come up with some information. But as we well know, in those situations, people in authority are just as lost as everyone else. So it's every, mother's son and daughter for him and herself. So they just jumped into their cars. They drive home. Now, mind you, there are no traffic lights, of course. There's no power in the Los Angeles basin. There's no power. So what happens when you come to an intersection, you have to do what people never do in Los Angeles when they're driving, is look at each other, you know? Who has the right of way? After you, Alphonse. Yeah, you play the Alphonse Gaston game and so forth. Well, so Armin Shimmerman, so Quark and Dull Ding Dong drive up to the intersection, and there are these poor guys who have early shifts, or these poor people who have early shifts, and I'm wondering what the hell is going on, no lights, and okay, it's you. I mean, really, and especially if you're not a Star Trek fan, the whole world, is not a Star Trek fan. There are people out there who don't know Quark, who don't know a Cardassian from a Schmarnassian. So, well, they get home, and then the end of the story. The end of the story is Ed Wiley. Now, Ed Wiley's married to this English woman who never wanted to come to California because she's afraid of earthquakes. She has this phobia about earthquakes, and they have these 4 little boys, 1, 3, 5, and 7. The English, they're... And he walks into the door, Ed Wiley, in his Cardassian makeup. And Ed is a big guy, a can-do, take charge kind of guy, like all Cardassians. Comes through the doorway, opens the door, looks around, and there is his wife and his 4 children sitting on a banquette in the hallway. The kids take one look at Daddy. And they're now all in therapy. No. But that's where I was in the earthquake, and all of this is God's truth. It was such a bizarre experience, I don't need to embellish it. And yes, and
Sarah wants to know how long it takes you.
makeup takes me 2.5 hours. 2.5 to 3 hours. That's why I have, and 4:30 is a very reasonable time. Sometimes I think Monday morning I have to be in the makeup chair at 3 o'clock. Now I'm going to have to take one last question because I'm getting the word.
You find that you prefer being in front of people like this or on Star Trek set?
Oh, well, you see, do I prefer being in front of a live audience like this or on the Star Trek set? It's different. I prefer performing like this because basically this is a performance. Is what I'm doing. And I prefer performing like this than I do performing in front of a camera. But being on the Star Trek set is a lot of fun because the people genuinely, I've become very close to those people. And thank you. You're really quite wonderful. Thank you. God bless. Good luck. Thank you very much.